If you or your kids were away this summer, chances are there's lots of transitioning to do now that you're reunited for the start of the school year. We have attorney Bud Kluick and family matters psychoanalyst Dr. Keith Canner here to point families in the right direction, because while folks are happy usually to get back together, it's not always so seamless of a transition.
That's right, Renee. Usually built into the court orders are a return of the children, like maybe 1 week or 2 weeks, 10 days before they get back to school. There's some very important practical considerations for that. They have to go shopping for back to school clothes, school supplies and stuff like that. But there's also other issues, like, for example, were on the extreme West Coast. If they went anywhere else to be with the other parent, and that's really what we're talking about. Usually during the summer, if the other parent does not live in the San Diego area very often, and let's say they live in Michigan or Maine or somewhere far away from here, usually the bulk of the summer, maybe almost the entire summer, was spent with that other parent. And so that's the kind of reunification that we're talking about. And they generally come back, the children do, about a week or two before school starts. And so they can reset their clock and reset their biological clock and get used to being with their high time parent, their school year parent, and get used to that routine. Because understand there's a problem with reunification there, and we'll be discussing that with Dr. Canner, because during the summer, the other parent there's probably not a lot of discipline going on when your biggest task is hanging out at the beach.
Oh, yeah.
And the other parent has to make sure they brush their teeth, get to bed on time, do their homework, and that's a difficulty.
Well, and I remember I was a child that flew back from California to Texas, and there's different rules at mom's and different rules at dad's. So let's talk, we'll get back to talking about that. And I know military families, there's reuniting in that too, but emotional challenges. I mean, I remember coming back from one parent and the other one be like, "You're different, you've changed." Yeah. You know, it seems like there is an adjustment period, and it can go smoothly, but sometimes not so much.
Yeah, and you've got to support the other parent. I mean, that's such a key point here. And the homes are going to be different, and there's different things at mom's and dad's, and the longer, in terms of the transitions that are going on, if you're with somebody for a longer period of time, like summertime, it takes time to adjust back to that old schedule, and you've got to talk to your kids about that ahead of time to get them used to that. That does make it a whole lot easier. And you're right, I mean, different homes, different rules.
And not communicating, you know, dad's rules are bad or mom's rules are bad, it's just that they're different.
Right, and that's important. You can't criticize the other parent. It's your child's parent. You've got to talk about, hey, things are different. They might be confusing at this house at this time. I mean, try to work with that other parent as much as you can for the child's best interest, like bedtimes and things like that, homework getting completed at both places. But there are going to be differences, and the most important thing is that it's okay to describe to your kids that, hey, it's confusing. It's okay that things may be different at mom's house than my house, and you work with it. You got to do that.
Being really clear.
Yeah.
Well, military families, it's a huge military town here, and maybe mom or dad was deployed for the whole summer. How do you deal with that when everybody comes back together?
Yeah, well, military deployments are a somewhat different issue. The reunification is somewhat similar, Renee, but with the deployments, the children don't know, the parent doesn't know, and oftentimes the military doesn't know exactly how long the deployment's going to be. And quite often they're quite lengthy. Westpac is normally 9 months of sailing, and you know, deployments overseas to Iraq or Afghanistan usually are a year in duration or so. And so the parent is away a long time. And one of the ways to address it, and this is often done in the actual court orders, is that there'll be an availability at a specific time for webcam communication with the other parent, which is a big addition of this generation of children. They can actually see daddy and mommy and talk to them. Or just you know, email communication or other kind of communication. The important thing is to keep the other parent involved during the deployment, so the transition when they come back is less troubling.
Yeah, I imagine that face-to-face, you know, getting to see the parent that's deployed is huge. Different emotional challenges for this one.
Big time. And you know, we're also dealing with the fact that they're at war, and they may not come home. And depending upon the age of the child and what they understand about that, and this is where attachment comes in, to really understand, well, really little kids, the babies, when their parent comes home, their bonding with them is very different than if they're older. And those early moments with them really determines the latter part of how the relationship is going to be with that parent. So the continuity aspect, and the military, you know, we got to support them, really making sure that the soldiers are in contact with their families all the time, as much as possible, to keep that in mind, because the little kids, when dad or mom goes, in their magical mind, they may not be coming back. As they get older and they see that the deployments happen and you come and go, they get used to this come and go. But also, we're dealing with the fact that they also may be really worried a lot of the time. They should be. Something could happen, and that's going to affect the bonding process with that parent, too. They might be afraid to get close.
Absolutely.
Okay, and then when there's a separation, they may really get very upset. They may get phobic. They may bedwet. I mean, it's traumatic for them when that parent goes. And we have to really be sensitive about those things.
Yeah, really appreciate you bringing those things up into our attention. Legal advice that you would have in any kind of reunion, just to make it as easy as possible.
Well, get started early. That's the major, that's maybe a mantra when I'm on this show, Renee, but the court system is slowing down more and more because they have a hiring, because of the budgetary issues. They have a hiring freeze in place. Essentially, 5 people are doing the work that was formerly done by 6 people. Plus, for 10 consecutive months, the governor had these furlough days where the courts were closed for 1 day a month. And so things get backed up and backed up and backed up. So if you want to, for example, if what happened this summer, you're not pleased with it and you want to have a change, I would say talk to an attorney in February, maybe even January, but talk to them in February of next year so we can file in March, so we can have a hearing, or you can go to mediation in April, have a hearing in May, and the orders will be in place when the kids get out of school in June.
Really,
so you need
really
to
good
plan
advice.
ahead.
Yeah, thank both of you so much. We're out of time. I wish we had more time to talk because I think there's so many issues here, all wrapped up in this one huge topic. So thank you so much, Bud and Dr. Kanner. And of course, if folks want to get in touch with you, we've got all the information on our website, and we'll put you in touch. Thanks, guys, so much.